Now you have created a new application, app2. Now, one thing you may want to do is to extend by adding new HTML files and functionality to app2. And that's what we're going to do in this video. Let's take a look at app2. App2 has templates directory. You can create additional HTML files. And if you put the files under secured, the framework will request you to log in before you can access those HTML files. So those things are already automatically built in, so you don't have to worry about it. That's why the building applications makes it so much easier. Now, in this video, let's build some web services and show how easy it is to expose your web services. And one word of caution is this is not recommended way how you would expose your web services, but for the purposes of proof of concept, the speed is what's important, so this will just work fine. And with few minor modifications, you can make these services secure as well, but we won't worry about that. So in order to build web services, a web service is something that you can call programmatically to get the response back. So your HTML server is also building a HTML file service serving HTML files. In addition, you might have heard about Twitter API that serves Twitter feeds through Twitter APIs. So something similar that you're going to want to build to serve data from your application. One way that you can do that is if you have a Python program, something like this, array function, which takes a variable number of arguments. So this kwr star means this function takes variable number of arguments. By that, what I mean is you can call this function by test name equals Sada and q equals 34, and you can give any number of parameters and you can handle that here. As you can see, this function doesn't do anything intelligent other than taking the string and responding it back with whatever the arguments that you send it back. And it'll also print locally that whatever that it's sending back so that you can see it in the debug. So once if you have this function ready, you either need to explicitly import it in your initialization, or another way your Python would do is whenever it initializes any of the modules, it runs all the functions within init.py. So easiest way is you could import the services from your init.py, and those functions or the modules will be initialized as well. And when it initializes, your LearnDjango framework, what it's doing is it's looking through all the stacks and then registering each of these stacks with the function. And if you were to use this in your URL, it'll call this function, return the results back. So let's take a look. Right now, recall that we had show routes that showed all the routes that existed before. Now, because we registered a new service.py, route should show up right here. So apps2.test is whenever you give it a path, then it calls apps2.services.test. So in order to test this, what you can do, you can click that app2/test. I already tested it with some parameters. I can say name equals xxx and then age equals 21, and if you hit enter, as you can see, it is returning, that web service is returning the information that you sent back. So normally you would do something more intelligent than just returning the string given back, but this is just an example of how you can quickly stand up the web service, take the calls from the browser, respond and send it back. So hopefully this helped you. So let's create one more that maybe I'll call this as test 1, and then test one. This will do, let's say this will take name as the parameter, and then let's say name colon name. And suppose if you don't pass in the name, this will give an error. So I will just give a default value just for the purposes. You can do either, you can have the errors go through, or you can check the KW args, return the appropriate error here. So if you're building a Vision API, you may upload a image file, you can process it and return the results just like this by doing something intelligent here in the Python file. Okay, once if you do that, you will go here and then check. So test2 is registered. As you can see, is it takes a parameter name, it already shows you. So now if you pass in this, it'll give you so this name is test1, so it'll give you name xxx or whatever that you pass in here. So that's about it for creating web services. In the next video, we are going to use it in our HTML file to send the information back and then get the response and display it on the HTML file.